every town has its secrets. Some are darker than others. A few years ago, I wanted to play a certain video game that I had seen bits and pieces of, but I didn't want to spoil myself any further, so I ordered it online, and I got it a week later. What I experienced was incredibly immersive. The atmosphere was creepy, the tone was very dark, and the music was just the right amount of eeriness. So I had high expectations. I was also aware of how beloved this franchise is, and unfortunately this company doesn't really know what to do with it anymore, so they turned it into a lottery. So, which is why, after listening to my speech, the audience should be able to describe the fictional town that is called Silent Hill. So, to give you an overview, Silent Hill is a psychological survival horror series that pits you as an everyday man character that explores the mysteries of Silent Hill and questions why they are drawn to the town. So the lore behind the game, like, there are many, I don't know how many games there are, but the lore can kind of be convoluted, and sometimes, like, it might not make sense to, like, describe it to some people. There is one game that has nothing to do with the series itself, even though the Silent Hill name is tacked on, another which kind of reimagines the first game. So I'm going to go over three main points that hopefully should be simple. They are, the first main idea is the history of the town itself. So, Silent Hill was first established around the 19th century, and it later became a tourist attraction town, which some people weren't very keen on the idea of the modernization and the transformation of the town being that state. However, the history of the town goes far as back as like 4 centuries before England's colonization of America. And the history of Silent Hill isn't a very good one. The natives were driven out or they were slaughtered. There were some shady rituals here and there, and there were rumors of the town like being a gateway portal to hell, built on native land. But there is a certain group that kind of proves some of these rumors, which we're going to go to our second main idea, the Order. So, the Order is a demon-worshipping cult that seeks to birth a god that will usher in a new paradise. In other words, hell on earth. So, what they believe is that they are the one true faith and religion, and that all other religions out there are deceptions and false lies. They are deeply rooted within the town's history, which explains some of its darkness that Silent Hill holds. Now, their order roots far back as the Salem witch trials, when one of their founding members was burned alive, and they later declared her as a saint. So the public was aware of this cult, and they despised them with a passion. But the order would infiltrate their hands upon public institutions, gaining influence and power over time. What they would do is that they kidnapped young girls for them to be surrogate mothers in their ceremonies, and it's kind of hinted that they were murdered afterwards. And then they murdered several developers of the town, and they would protect drug dealers, etc., etc., etc. They're not a very good group. Over the course of the franchise, you have to deal with this cult, but they're not the only threats in Silent Hill, which we're going to go over our third main point, the inhabitants of the town. So, as you know, there is this cult, the Order, that resides within the town. But there was also the high priestess and the leader of the order, named Dahlia Gillespie, who wants her daughter to birth, in her own words, my daughter will be the mother of God, essentially. But then after her downfall, the order would eventually be in shambles, and then a little bit later on, they would pick up their feet thereafter. But the main inhabitants would be the monsters that you would deal with around the town. So Silent Hill has a psychological elements to it. So when you, as the protagonist, would be at the town, you deal with these monsters that are rooted in human psychology, someone's fears and emotions, such as fear of hospitalization, the various forms of abuse, sexual frustration, judgment, wrath, hatred, abortion, a lot of different stuff that's symbolized. So, to go over our main points, first is that the history of Silent Hill is very dark. Second is that the Order, a demon-worshipping cult that seeks to birth a god. And then third are the inhabitants, which are the monsters based on the human psychology, and Dahlia Gillespie, the high priestess of the Order. So, in conclusion, I'm going to read to you guys a letter at the beginning of Silent Hill 2. So to give context, Mary, who is the writer of this letter, is believed to be dead by her husband James, but she's dead. In my restless dreams, I see that town, Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now, in our special place, waiting for you. What happens beyond that? It's kind of terrifying. Thank you.